So, my name is Brittany, and I am an energy shaman, and I also am a mindset coach. And so today, what I'm going to be talking about, because I also love all things metaphysical and spiritual and woo, is I'm going to be talking about soul contracts. So if anybody, that's your first time hearing about soul contracts, we're going to get into it. So I put 2 videos up on my main page just now. One is about soul contracts in general. One is about soul contracts in reference to money. Because that is something that I have continuously worked on in my life. And I know a lot of other people are too. So we're going to talk about what the Akashic records are first, because that is going to give you more information about how soul contracts work. So I have been reading Akashic records for about 2 years now and reading people's soul contracts. So Akashic records are a vibrational record of all of your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and actions across all space, time, and dimensions. So use your discernment when I'm about to talk about these things. If it feels good in your body, take that message. If that is not your truth, don't take that. This is just my perspective and what I have found working with lots and lots of people. Good morning. Hey, good morning. Many blessings to you too. So like I said, take what you want from this. Okay, so Akashic records. If you believe in reincarnation, like you come back, right, over and over and over again, whether that's in Earth, whether that's in other dimensions, other frequencies, star seeds from other places, you could have been a bug, you could have been that flower, you could have been whatever, right? Like if you believe we're all source experiencing itself, like your source experiencing your life right now. That flower is experiencing life as a flower, right? All energy forms have Akashic records. Hey Daphne, hey Queen, hey, I'm sending you a big hug this morning. So everything has an Akashic record. Your house has an Akashic record. My crystals have an Akashic record. My sweater has an Akashic record. Because this sweater might have been a person. Before, I know that sounds weird, but it's whatever you decided to come in and incarnate on this time. So you're a human being, right? So we are human beings, but we're also energy beings. We are galactic beings. We are etheric beings, right? And so if with your Akashic records, if you believe in incarnation, you have a book that is commonly known as, right? It's a record of all of your things that have happened in every single incarnation since you sparked as a energy form, right? Like there's one specific time where you started your first incarnation, right? So it follows you from that point all the way through to where you're at right now. And sometimes you have concurrently running timelines. Sometimes there's, if you believe in like quantum physics and things like that, you have other versions of you living in other times in space. So like sometimes you'll be in contact with those versions of you too, and you're like feed looping back each other information. Anyway, okay, so with that, your soul contract is what you decided to experience in this lifetime, right now. And you have a new soul contract every single time you incarnate. So your soul contract is you and your guides, all are your friends before you came here, right? You as your higher self decided what you're going to be experiencing on this time. So sometimes it can be seen as like negative things that you're experiencing, right? But it's all for growth. Like basically this is Earth school. And you are going through things, growing through things to learn and evolve. Also to help raise the consciousness of Earth. Like we are all, lessons to level up. Like we're all going through a collective shift and like raising frequencies. And so like a lot of people, especially light workers, have come here during this specific time to help the shift. And so I have been finding, like reading people's soul contracts and Akashic records, almost everyone that I read is they came here to help humanity in some type of way, whatever that capacity is, whether it's on a global scale, whether it's like you growing internally and helping other people around you, right? Like it's most often like healers that are coming here. And so with that, your soul contract can give you better perception of why you chose to do certain things and experience certain things. And so, hello. And so with that, like, I have attracted a lot of narcissists in my life. Like a lot of narcissists, especially like in romantic relationships. Okay. And I realized on my soul contracts, and with one person specifically, and I'll talk about that a little bit more, but I realized that I needed to do that so I could remember who I was. Like, I had very low self-esteem and confidence and self-worth issues. I experienced a lot of trauma as a child. And so in order to step into my power and do the things that I do now and help people with those things, I literally had to go through that stuff. Because experience is the best teacher. Celeste over here is dancing, apparently, in the background. If you can see her moving. So anyway, so I had to experience those things so that I could help other people with it, but not just other people, like help myself. Like realize how to live authentically and speak my truth and be confident and like help break apart toxic things that are going on like with people or in the collective, right? I've literally been saying my whole life, when things get funky, there's a reason for it. Usually there is, even though like we go through very negative things, right? And it in our human brain is like perceiving it is very negative, and that's not bypassing and saying like people don't do shitty things to you, because they do, right? Like and shitty things happen. But a lot of times we experience things so we can learn and grow through them. Like if you look back at all the things that happen in your life, most of the time there's something that you took from that and grew from it, even if it was like terrible. Because I've had some awful things that have happened in my life and it took me a long time, a very long time, to let go of resentment. Like, not saying that you should just, you know, let people do whatever to you, but I was holding on to a lot of hate and frustration and resentment. And I had to change my perspective of, I see why all of that stuff happened to get me to where I'm at right now. And so with your soul contract, if you've got, let me answer this question first. Do you have any good books or resources to learn more about this for beginners? Yes. So if you go to my main page, like on my main page TikTok, I just put up a video that says abundance soul contracts. There's a meditation in there that I actually did this morning before doing this, because I wanted to be able to give people a resource. It was really great in helping me like tap into some things. For anyone in here, the 85 people that are in here right now, that's a lot of people. I have a email list that I have put together. It's not an email list, but it's an email with like a bunch of different resources on how to get into your soul contract, how to read your own Akashic records. It's tons of meditations. Like, it's this huge resource, and it's all things that I have personally watched and that I have grown through and that have helped me. And so if you want that, you can send me a message on Instagram. It's Soul Harmony Healing, and I will send it to you. Just type me up a message and say like, hey, can I get those resources on the Akashic records and soul contracts? And then give me your email, and then I'll send it to you, because there's a bunch of links. But I have that in case anybody wants help with it. Okay. Yeah, it'll be emailed, because it's like 20 different links. It's a lot to send in like Instagram or Facebook. So, you signed up for the Zoom. Okay, awesome. I'm also doing an event on May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. There's a Zoom like coaching, group coaching, and it's about Dark Nights of the Soul. And it's about, so that one I'm going to have different resources. So if you want the ones I'm talking about right now, send me an Instagram. But for that group coaching, if anybody wants to sign up, there's a link in my bio. Oh, it's 777 likes. That's exciting. So if anybody wants to sign up for that, that is if you're in the dark night of the soul, or if you're in a tower moment or the void space, or you're in hermit mode and you feel very lost in life right now. Like maybe this is your first time experiencing that on your spiritual awakening journey, or maybe you've experienced it a couple times and you feel stuck right now. That is what that event is for, and it's in my bio. My Insta name is Soul Harmony Healing. That's my YouTube channel, that's my Instagram, that's my Patreon. You can find me across all platforms on Soul Harmony Healing. So, with your soul contract, Like for me, the video I just made a minute ago, so abundance and prosperity is something, hey Leda, hey, hey. So abundance and prosperity is something that I have always continuously worked on in my life, because I had some very, very deep rooted self-limiting beliefs. I grew up in a very religious household. And so the things that I heard when I was a child, when, your subconscious is the most open to like programming when you're a kid, was money is the root of all evil. If you are rich, you are a bad person, and riches are meant for heaven. You are not meant to enjoy things in this lifetime. That is meant for wherever else in life, right? Afterlife. And so that was very deeply rooted in, and that is something that I have continuously worked on. I worked on it to a conscious level, like a mindset psychology level, and I was still blocked. Okay, I couldn't figure out how to get out of that reality and out of that paradigm, no matter how hard I tried. Okay, and my conscious mind, your adult conscious mind is different than when you were a child. You have to go back and talk to the children version of you and help them heal. But that's a different story. That's past version healing, which I can help with that too if you need help. But so I was reading my soul contracts, and I realized that I was holding, I made an agreement that I was going to experience lack mentality and shame and guilt, and that I was going to struggle to make money. Now, why would I choose that? Right? I thought that I had to prove to myself that I was worthy to have that money, which is ridiculous. Money is an energy form. It's an energy form just like anything else. And you don't have to prove yourself for anything. You should just be able to exist and be abundant and prosperous, right? That is what is meant for us. Yeah. Yikes. Right. And so on my contract, it was oh, we're going to struggle so I can prove to myself that I'm worthy. And so that's where that unconscious stuff comes in. And I had contracted to do that. Now, why would I contract to do that? Because one of my karmic lessons in this lifetime is learning how to love myself and self-care. That is a big one for me. But another one is because I wanted to help people get out of their lack mentality. So what do you think I had to do to be able to help people get out of their lack mentality? Is to experience that. I had to viscerally experience that because experience is the best teacher. Okay. Now, when is the contract created? So your soul contract is created before you get here. You as your higher self and your guides and your friends or whomever your console people, you plan out what you're going to do here in experience. Now, a lot of times I hear people say well, it's in my soul contract, I can't do anything about it. Yes, you can. So your soul contract is editable. You made it. It's yours. You can change things in there. It's, are you ready to change the things in there? For me, I spent all that time in that agreement because that's what I signed up for, that's what I needed. But now I'm in a place in my life where I'm I experienced that, and I'm grateful that I experienced it. That's another thing. If you're holding resentment about something or somebody, that means that lesson's not done, unfortunately. And we can get into that, and I'll give you another example of how that works. But if you're holding resentment and you're I hate this and I don't want this anymore, a lot of times that's what's keeping you in that soul contract. You have to find peace within what's happening. And so with me, with the lack mentality and all that stuff that was going on, I was okay, well, I see why that had to happen so that I could help other people with it. But I have to find peace. So I'm okay, we learned, we grew from that experience. That's great. I get it. But I don't want that for my experience anymore. I'm done with that. I experienced that. I lived and breathed that. Now it's time for something new. I cannot now be in lack mentality and help other people. Like, I hit a precipice point where I was like, okay, I know what that feels like. I know what that is, but I can't help people if I'm there. So I had to go into my soul contracts and sift through all of that very, very deep programming and rewrite what was going on and saying, like, I'm not doing this anymore. This is my contract. I decide what my experience is going to be. I'm not doing this. I'm grateful. I found peace. That's beautiful. Thank you. Now we're living from a new soul contract. So I'll give you another example. So, and I'm not trying to say to bypass and just let people do whatever to you and that, right? So this is that example. So I was in an emotionally abusive relationship for 7 years. It was super intense. Oh, yay, I'm glad you signed up for the workshop. It's going to be fun. It's different than what I'm doing now because we can talk back to each other. Here I'm kind of talking as a creed, but we can talk to each other. So I was in an emotionally abusive relationship for 7 years, and it was super intense. And I hated this person. Like, even when we broke up, I was holding like so much resentment inside because of what had happened. And it was like eating away at my energy. And rightfully so. Like, that was really shitty, right? And at some point, I said, why did I pull this person in? Why did I pull this person into my experience? And then I started to do a deeper dive, and I was like, oh, I had so much stuff that I needed to work on with my self-worth and my self-esteem and confidence that I was just taking whatever I could get because I have an intense fear of being alone. Because I have abandonment issues from childhood, from my parents. Like, there's always like deeper stuff, right? And none of that was my fault. Like, maybe I signed up for that on my soul contract to experience because I love helping people with that now. Like, that's what I love, helping people like get out of stuff like that, right? But like, that relationship that I had with that person gave me the most amount of growth that I have ever received in my journey, because it made me step into my power. It made me like realize what toxic behavior and codependency is. It helped me learn how to be myself authentically. Like, it helped me so much in my life. Let me read these really quick. How do you find out exactly what they did to you if you know there's something but not sure what? That is what going into your soul contract and getting to like the root of things. Like, I'll give an example of how to do that because it's like a big thing. So let me finish this and I'll get into that. Were you aware of the contract at the time? No. When I was in that abusive relationship, I didn't know what that was. I wasn't on like the same level of consciousness that I am now. There's no like above or below. I didn't know what soul contracts were. The last few years going through healing, loving me, growing, all the above. Yes. Okay, so now looking back at it, I was like, if I hold all of this hate and resentment, it's just going to make me miserable. Like, that's all it's going to do. Like, it's not doing anything to that person. It's eating me up. Okay? And so I had to come to peace with that was an experience I had. I learned and grew from that. I will not do that again. That was the last time that was going to happen, right? Yes, I do have videos on YouTube, and I have some videos on my main page I just put up about soul contracts, if you want to go back and review those. I might put this one on YouTube as well. So this one's a little bit more personal about my relationship and stuff. So I realize now why that had to happen, and that holding hate and resentment with that person was only eating me up. Now we're going to get into something even deeper, okay? So I'm not saying that this is true for you, so please, everyone, take this with a grain of salt and use your discernment. There is a video on YouTube, and it's called The Little Soul in the Sun. It's like 13 minutes long. And you said you watched the video? Good. Okay. So sometimes we soul contract with people so they can hurt us use this with discernment. This is not everybody in your life, but sometimes we contract with people and it's actually, we contract together before we get here and say, I'm going to hurt you so you can experience the most amount of growth. Okay. Like I said, take that with a grain of salt. When I watched that video, I realized that I had soul contracted with this person. I already knew. Like, when I started learning about twin flames, like, I already knew this person was my twin flame. You're not always meant to stay with your twin flame. Like, you and your twin flame, and this is my interpretation of things that I have worked through with people and their twin flames, is that you and your twin flame are the same soul, split off into two different consciousness. And then you find each other, not in every incarnation, right? You find each other and you in your mirror reflections so that you trigger one another for growth. Sometimes that's positive triggers, sometimes that's negative triggers, right? And so in this lifetime, my twin flame was very triggering and we didn't end up staying together. We still have, oh yeah, little soul in the sun. We still have a relationship together, not like a romantic relationship, but this person is still in my life. When I let go of all of that hatred that I was holding and I came to peace with that had to happen for my growth, all of a sudden the dynamics changed. Like, the dynamics like wildly changed with this person, and now we have a great relationship. And this is not me bypassing and saying like, oh, I'm letting my abuser stay in my life, right? That's not the relationship we have now. The relationship we have now is, it is very clear what my boundaries are. And if you don't respect my boundaries, then you will not be in my life. And so when you find peace like that and you realize like sometimes things are meant to happen for a specific reason, it completely changes your outer reality. Like me with like money. I could be very angry with self when I was in that place and say like, why would I do this to myself? Like, that's like, who does that, right? But me reading that from my soul contract and like realizing, oh, I did that so I could help other people and I don't have to keep living that experience, like completely changed my outer reality. Like completely changed it. And so this can show up in different ways too, like things on your soul contract, like behavioral patterns that you don't seem to be able to get out of. Like you just keep doing the same things like over and over again, even though you know that they're not good for you. You're in an experience lesson on your soul contract. Or like if you keep having, like if you have a toxic friend and you keep on having the same person but in a different body keep on coming into your experience. And you're like, why does the same type of person or same type of relationship keep coming to me? It's because you have a soul contract lesson, a karmic lesson, a karmic cycle. Oh, thank you, Amber. That's so sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very sweet. So that's why that keeps happening, because you have something on your soul contract that you need to experience. And sometimes like getting to the root of things, and I'll give a example of how to do that. So there's this tool, and it's a psychology tool or an energetic tool, but it's called the 7 layers of clarity. And so sometimes what your conscious mind thinks is the reasoning behind something is not the root reasoning behind something, right? Like there's way more stuff in your subconscious that you're not aware of. And so something I do with clients is I'll say, okay, so you take whatever the problem is, okay? So like, let's say with money, since we're using that, like, why can't I make more money? Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna ask yourself the question, you're gonna get out a piece of paper, and you're gonna ask yourself whatever question you wanna ask yourself. And then you're gonna get the answer, and then you're gonna ask yourself again. Same question. And then you're gonna write the answer. And then you're gonna ask yourself again. And you're gonna have the same, and you're gonna get another answer. You do that 7 times. And I know that sounds very simple and very silly, but there's always something underneath. That's what your soul contract is. It is your conscious mind, but what is all that stuff underneath there? What is the root down there? Why did you decide to do this? Why did you decide to sign up for this lesson? Why are you wanting to grow here? And sometimes asking yourself, doing that 7 layers of clarity, helps you find that answer. Something that also helps is you can learn how to get in your own Akashic records to read it easier. There's soul contract meditations on YouTube. There's chakras that you can work with to help you get into your soul contract. There's your Earth Star chakra. That's underneath your root chakra. That's why you incarnated on Earth. Because you can incarnate a lot of different places. Your Earth Star chakra is why you incarnated here. Your Soul Star chakra, which is above your crown chakra and your causal chakra. So that is where your Akashic records are held. That's where your spiritual gifts, that's where your purpose is held. That's your soul contracts. That's where you start to channel like source energy. Okay. Working with your Soul Star chakra is super beneficial. That's how I have been able to, I've been reading Akashic records for a long time, but in order to read people's soul contracts, working with my own Soul Star chakra has helped me with other people and myself. But your Earth Star chakra and your Soul Star chakra, like working with both of them in tandem with one another, helps unlock those things. I'm going to have to book with you to work on my contract. Yeah, if you want to, there's a link in my bio. It's one-on-one healing sessions. I do Akashic record reading, soul contracts. I do past version healing. That's another way to work with your contract. Yeah, we have hundreds of chakras. There's a 7 main that people talk about, like your root to your crown. But then there's like your 12 transpersonal chakras, which include a lot more. And that's what I work on with people, is your 12. I always wonder what color is the Soul Star chakra. To me, the Soul Star chakra, it can be a lot of different colors. To me, it's magenta. That's also why I dyed my hair magenta for my Earth Star and my Soul Star. They both can be magenta. It's really a personal thing though. Like sometimes your Earth Star and your Soul Star are different colors for different people, depending on like where you're at with those chakras. So, like I said, if anybody wants those resources on all these things that I'm talking about, like if you want to do that on your own, like sometimes it's easier with a guide to do that, like the first time, so you know what it feels like and what it looks like. But, oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Jessica. But if you want to do it on your own, which you can, okay, you can send me a message on Soul Harmony Healing, my Instagram, and then I will send you the email. Just send me a note saying like, hey, I want these resources, and then leave your email, and then I'll send it to you. It looks like I was born with magenta hair. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I have, let me skip this YouTube ad. I'll turn it down while I was playing. I have dyed my hair different colors depending on what chakra that I'm working with. So first it was my my throat chakra, because my throat chakra was like completely blocked. And then completely blocked. I've been blocked from IG. You can email me, Christina. You can email me. There's a bio. In my bio, there's a little email icon. If you hit that, you can send me an email and just ask there. Like just go straight through there. I love how you remind everyone that you can do it themselves. Yeah, that's another thing. Like you can do, that's why I always tell people, you can do these things yourself. You don't necessarily have to have a reader or a guide. Sometimes it's easier. Like before I started reading Akashic records for people, I got somebody to read mine, because then I knew kind of like what that felt like and what it looked like. Now, the way I read people's records is wildly different than the person that read for me. Even though it was wonderful and magical and amazing and awesome and it helped me on my journey, I do way different stuff, right? But at least like I could conceptualize what that was. But for me to be able to read people's soul contracts and Akashic records, like that's stuff I had to do internally with myself first. Just like how you can do it for you and read your own, it just takes practice. And going back in and back in and back in and back in and back in. And finding what works for you. If that makes sense. But, so your soul contract, I simply just did what you said with the child self, 10 minutes change my energy to be even better. Yay, that's exciting. Let me talk about past version healing then. And since I have a couple more minutes. Okay, so that's another way you can work with your soul contract and edit and change it. So with my journey, with reading for people and doing work with people, there are versions of ourselves that get caught in energetic timestamps. So I'll take, for me, example, okay? So since I had money blocks or whatever, they weren't really blocks. It was soul contract challenges, okay? But what happened was, so when I'm a kid and I hear money is the root of all evil, if you're a rich person, you're going to hell, like all this stuff, right? My conscious brain, my adult brain right now knows that's not true. Like, I know that I'm not going to hell because I have abundance and prosperity, or I'm not evil, right? The child inside of me is still living that experience and pushing behavioral patterns forward into my present day. And so that can show up as being afraid of success, even though you know that that is like going to help you. Okay. It is still coming from childhood. Like, that version of me was saying, like, we don't want to do that. If we become successful, bad things are going to happen. And so in past version healing, that's where we go back in and I counsel and I higher self and parent the younger version of me to help her let go of that. So I'm going to give you an example of how I helped her with that, okay? and then that'll be the last thing, okay? So the other day I was journaling, and if you want help with that, if you want a resource on my YouTube channel, Soul Harmony Healing, I did like a 45-minute chat about how to do past version healing. Or if you want help doing it, I do that as well as a service, our sessions. Okay, so I went on Google and I looked up money prompts, like money journaling. And I found one and it said, what is your first memory with money? My logical brain was saying it had to do with my grandparents and like adopting me because it was super expensive and they were always talking about how expensive it was, and I had a lot of guilt and shame about that, right? Like, I thought that's what it was and I had already worked through that. That's not what was in there. I said, I'm just gonna let whatever comes up, comes up. So I remembered when I was a kid, I was like 5 or 6, my mom took me to the pet store and I fell in love with this hamster. It was so cute. I loved him so much and I wanted him. I was like, I love him so much, I want to take him home. And I said, can we get him? And she said, no, we can't. And I don't remember if she said it's because we don't have enough money or whatever. I was an intuitive kid and like we didn't have any money. So I might have just known. And I was so heartbroken. I was so incredibly sad. And I cried and cried and cried and cried about it. And you know, like logically, like kids can't always have what they want when they want it, right? But as a kid, you don't know that. And so to me, I equated money with lack. Like, I can't have the things that I want because I don't have enough money, right? She's still living that experience. And I'll tell you how I knew she's still living that experience. So I asked her to come forward. I said, hey, can I talk to you? Like 5 or 6 year old me. And I said, hey, do you remember that time when we asked mom to give us a hamster and she said no? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, do you know that a couple months later that she got us the hamster? And she was like, I didn't know that. And I was like, yeah, a couple months later, she came over to my grandparents' house and she gave us a hamster. And I said, we loved him so much. Like, it was such, like, we love that hamster so much. And she was like, I didn't know we got a hamster. And I was like, yeah. And me present, I was like, me and my son have gotten 2 more hamsters since then. Like, he had 2 hamsters named it was Raphael and Leonardo. One of them was like giant too. And I said, so we've actually had 3 hamsters since then. And she had no idea. And I said, and we're about to get woo and metaphysical here, okay? Oh, love my past version healing I did with Brittany. Oh, hey, friend, hey. Thank you for saying that too. We had a lot of fun doing that. So we're about to get metaphysical here, okay? So I said, do you want to meet with the hamsters And she was like, yes. And so I brought the hamsters in, like all 3 hamsters, right? Obviously they've passed away since then. I was like, you can play with the hamsters forever now. Like, this is your etheric land that you live in. I was like, let's take it a step further. Let's build an amusement park, a hamster amusement park, right? And you can live with all the hamsters in here. And she was so excited. And I said, I want you to remember that just because we don't get something right in that second does not mean that it's not coming for us. Like, yeah, we had to wait a little while because maybe that hamster wasn't for us. Maybe that hamster was meant for a different family. Maybe we weren't ready to take care of a hamster. But we got our hamster. And then we got more hamsters. Like, we actually got way more hamsters than we had intended in the first place. Right? I said, sometimes when you ask for something, maybe you don't get it right that second, but because you want it and you feel that so deeply, it's on your timeline. Like, you are preconceiving something that's going to happen later on. That's why you want it. It's your reality. Just maybe it hasn't come down into the 3D experience yet. And like, she was still living from that mindset of like, I can't have what I want because I don't have enough money. And when I built her that like hamster land inside, and I was like, look, like you have all that you want and even more. And I was like, you don't have to be in that space anymore. When she realized that, and she was like in that space, I could literally feel all of that energy release in my body. Like, she completely let go of that because it wasn't a reality that she was still living under. She was like, oh yeah, I got exactly what I wanted and now I have even more of it, right? So that's how sometimes things like that happen in the past can push forward to the present, and that's why we have to go back and help those versions of us heal. Because like now in my present day, it's like, oh, well, I want to go to Australia. Like, that's on my bucket list of things to do. But my self-limiting beliefs from before were telling me like, you can't do that because you don't have enough money. That's not true. Like, I have a whole life ahead of me. Maybe I didn't have it right in that second. But that doesn't mean that that's never going to happen. And for me, living under the umbrella of that's never going to happen because I don't have enough money is pushing it like so far away from me. When I can live under the perspective of like, maybe I don't have it right this second, but it's coming for me because I feel it on my timeline. I know that's going to happen, just like it happened with the hamsters. And so a lot of this stuff doesn't seem like it's correlated, but it definitely is. And so that's with your soul contract. Like, that hamster situation, that is in my soul contract of things to experience, which bleeds into why I picked to go through lack mentality so I could help people get out of it now. So like, there's always that deeper root stuff. And when you start getting into your soul contract and reading those things, that's how you get to the bottom of things. Your conscious mind is not like, there's so much work you can do there, but it's really like that subconscious type of work that you have to get to change a lot of these things. Like, if you keep on pulling the same type of person into your experience, or if you still having the same outcomes, it's like, why does that keep happening? Because there's something like underneath that you're not seeing. And so doing your soul contract, or, you know, getting to your Akashic records like that helps like so much. When you're finally open, is amazing how you see the plan for everything. It's so freeing. Yeah, it's so much freeing, like coming from a space of like, instead of like, why is all this stuff happening to me, opposed to why is this happening for me? Like, there was one day when I woke up, like spiritual awakening, but like I woke up and I was like, oh, living from that perspective is way more beneficial and freeing than living from why is this happening to me. I also just made a video about the difference between the Matrix and the Creatrix. The Matrix, like the movie, not the movie, but like the Matrix way of thinking is like, why is this happening to me? I'm trapped. The Creatrix way of living is, why is this happening for me? I am the creator of my reality. I can change it. And so it's which reality bubble do you want to be living under, or living, not under, but living in, right? So, and that's something I also suggest looking up, is the creatrix, because I got real deep into the matrix hole when I was on my spiritual awakening journey. Like, and not saying it's not real, it's just one type of reality. And it's one type of frequency that you can be living in. There's lots of other different types of realities and frequencies that you can be living in, like more preferable ones. And like I said, not saying it's not real and that there aren't terrible things going on out in the world. It's just a different perspective that you can live under. Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing? So I think that's all I have for today as far as soul contracts. If you feel like you are super lost in life right now and you're just like, I don't know what to do. Okay. Cause I've been there. I've been like deep in that hole. I want to be the creatrix. If you want to be the creatrix, say, I am the creatrix. You can do it right now. That's the difference between saying I want to be and I am. Like that is the creatrix, is saying I am the creatrix. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So, if you need help with that, like getting out of that hole, okay, I have a workshop that I'm holding on May the 4th, and we're going to talk about dark nights of the soul, tower moments, hermit mode, being in the void space, like what to do when you're feeling stuck, like in your reality. Like you're looking around and you're like, this ain't it. This is not what I want to be doing, right? That is, there's a link in my bio for that. I also have a Patreon where I teach all about these different things. I just put up a calendar, like if you want to go to my Patreon and look at like the events for this upcoming month and what I'm going to be talking about, it's up there. I also do one-on-one sessions if you want help, like one-on-one with reading your soul contract or your Akashic records. I also offer, like, if you're not sure, because I offer a lot of different things, if you're not sure what you need help with, but you know you need help with something, you can schedule a call, and then I will chat with you about it. If I have to work the 4th, can I sign up and get the video? I am not going to be recording it because I feel like it's going to be very personal, and I want to, like, respect people's privacy about that. Because I chose not to do that. Sometimes I record things and then sometimes I don't, depending. And since I didn't tell people I was recording it before, I'm not going to be doing that one. But I will be talking about similar things on my Patreon, and those will be recorded. And I give people a heads up, like, hey, these are going to be recorded. And those are more like one-on-one, not one-on-one interaction, but like group coaching type of interaction. Yeah, just sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. And if I decide not to, then I want to keep on that track of not doing it. But on my Patreon, I'll do that. So if you want a one-on-one session, I'm doing that. I'm also doing a 8-week program. That is Get Into Alignment. So that is where we dig into all areas of your life. Like all of them. Like this is coming from a psychology standpoint and a spiritual metaphysical standpoint. So if you like both, and you think that both of them are necessary, because I do, that's where I live from, is that we're human beings, but we're also etheric galactic beings, and you need like psychology, subconscious work, and you need energy healing, right? I'm doing an 8-week program, and there's a link in my bio to have a call about it, and we work on Akashic records, soul contracts, Reiki, talk to your spirit guides, we talk about metaphysical woo things, but we also talk about trauma, and we sift through all areas of your life. I work with this thing called the Wheel of Life, and it's like we hit career, we hit finances, we hit relationships, friends, like health and wellness, everything. This is like if you are stuck and you don't know what to do and you want your life to look different, that is what that program is for. Because one-on-one sessions are great, and sometimes you can have like a completely different life after one session, but for the most part, like sometimes you gotta have somebody hold your hands and hold you accountable and look at it from an outsider perspective and say like, hey, this is what I see that's going on in your life that's keeping you stuck right now. right? And sometimes a one session isn't enough for that. And so that's what the 8-week program is for, if you need more intensive like help. Because I've been there in my life. I have been where I like hated everything in my life, and I was like, I will do anything that I can do to get out of this. And so Ella, I was just checking on that. Actually sounds like something I need. Yeah, let me know. We can always do a phone call about it too, because maybe I'm not the person for you. Like, whenever you pick a reader or a guide or somebody to help you, you need to be in alignment with that person. You need to have not similar like beliefs and values, but you need to have somebody that you know is going to get you to where you want to go. And not everybody is for everybody. And so I'm saying, that's why I always tell people, like, use your discernment too. Like, maybe I'm not the person. maybe it's somebody else that's like more into psychology or more into spirituality and metaphysics. I blend the two, and that's where I work from. Brent, for the Dark Night of the Soul, I don't know if that's going to be beneficial for you necessarily, because you're on the other side of that right now. Like, you're that's what we were doing together for like 8 weeks. And so I think that you're probably, I don't know if it's going to be as beneficial for you, because you're not stuck in the hole anymore. We're stuck way down in the hole and don't see a way out. Right. And that was me. I had, and I'll talk for like 2 more minutes. I had severe anxiety and severe depression. And from an outsider's perspective, my life looked amazing and beautiful and, you know, something to be, you know, like admire. But inside, I was like, I don't want to be living any part of this. And I had to make some very drastic changes in my life to switch my timelines. Oh, you're welcome, Brent. That's what I was saying. You out the hole. And, you know, sometimes like that hole that we get in, it's not something that we're always out of. Like, there's times in my life where I've been like way deep down into the hole, and then I've gotten out, but then I get back in a hole. And and sometimes that's a good thing, because you've raised consciousness levels, right? It's that dark night of the soul tower moments, like it's cyclical. Like you're doing really good, and all of a sudden things start not working, but that's because you've raised consciousness level. And it's time to like start over, if that makes sense, like with who you are now. Like, so it's a good thing. And that's what I talk about with like the dark nights of the soul and tower moments. Like, it seems really negative, but it's actually really positive. You're it for me. I'll be booking with you. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad, Jessica. If you have any questions or you want to do a call, let me know. Okay. And like I said, if anybody wants, let me show you all these people really quick. Well, they're people, but so sometimes working with a guide to get into your soul contract and help them or get them to help you view it, because that happened with me. Like, I went into my soul contract the other day and I asked several guides to come in with me to help amplify and to be able to read it more clearly. And so these are some people that I recommend. Okay, taking guides in with you is definitely beneficial. Definitely. It definitely helped me. Okay, so the first one, this is Ganesh. This is Lord Ganesh. So he came in to help me on mine. And Lord Ganesh is the remover of obstacles. So if you are kind of like almost getting in your own way, or if you have like external forces that you think are like keeping you from like doing something that you want to do, right? Ganesh is great to call in to help you with your soul contract. The next one is Isis. Isis also came in and helped me read my soul contract. Isis is about manifesting and seeing that you are the creatrix, not the matrix, that you are the creatrix. And so Isis is a beautiful person to come in and ask, especially if you're trying to bring something in to your reality. Okay. And the next person, this is Horus. I work with Horus a lot. He's a gatekeeper of the etheric and astral realms. He also helps you with your third eye, and he helps you be able to perceive things more clearly, especially because that's the houser of your imagination. So that's where like visualization and daydreaming and everything is up here. And so he can help amplify your third eye chakra and help you see different realities that you can be living in, different frequencies. And so he's a great one to come in and help. Also like the Eye of Horus, like in perceiving. So these three beings, there's lots more, but if you are just starting to work on your soul contracts, I highly recommend these three beings. They are wonderful. Okay, so like I said, if anybody has any questions or wants those resources, reach out to me on Soul Harmony Healing on Instagram, or you can email me. There's a link in my bio. I have tons of videos on YouTube. I have tons of them on there. Vienna, I am about to pop off, but if you want to learn about soul contracts, there are 2 videos that I just put up on my main page that talk about soul contracts. And so if you want to check out my YouTube, I have lots of videos there. And then my Patreon, if you want to join my Patreon, I would love to have you. It's a fun community. I put up tons of resources. I just opened it. I'm going to be putting tons of stuff, not just about soul contracts and Akashic records, but like psychology tools, spirit guides, higher self, Akashic records, soul contracts, how to change your languaging to like change your life, like tons of like beneficial stuff. But I also host workshops within there. So if you want some type of like group coaching style, like with other people and like you can be in a community with, Patreon's where it's at. Okay. All right, everybody. Well, hopefully this was helpful. And I will see some of you later. I'll be looking on there too then. Yeah, I would love to have you. Love to have you. If anybody wants to know what I'm doing on Patreon, there's a link in my bio. And then I just put up the calendar of events for the month of May. So like maybe that's not your vibe. Some of the things I'm talking about, and maybe it is. But I have all the different workshops that I'll be hosting and the different times and the different days. I need to, what is today, Monday? I need to do my pick a card video to put on there today. I'm gonna do that too. Okay, all right everybody, I will see you later and I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Bye.